Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be chatting with you about how you can get started in real estate. I want to add in a huge disclaimer that I am living in Michigan, so this advice may not pertain to your state, so I would highly recommend getting connected with a realtor in your state who has experience in getting involved in the real estate process to better suit you. But I'm in Michigan, so for those who are also in Michigan, stay tuned and I will kind of chat with you about my journey getting into the business and the steps that I had to take. So the very first thing that I would highly recommend is having at least 6 months of a savings. So 6 months of mortgage or rent, car payment, food, whatever it is, you need to be able to make it for that first 6 months because that paycheck is not always guaranteed. It helps if you have a significant other who could also probably chip in on some items, and or you're living with family, that would be excellent, but I just highly recommend having a stash of money to make it through those first 6 months as you are building your business. So now that you have a stash of funds, I personally decided that I wanted to study for my real estate license while I was working full-time. So I was in a position that I did not love. It was a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 banking job that was stale and I was not down for it. So I decided that during my time working full-time, Monday through Friday, that I would also study for my real estate exam. So I have done a lot of my schooling. I did my bachelor's mostly online. I'm currently undergoing my MBA online as well. So I chose a program called Real Estate Express because that was a learning tool that I felt like would kind of just better suit my lifestyle at the time. So working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, it was kind of like impossible for me to say, yes, I really want to sit in a classroom for a couple hours a week. So because I'm more suited with the online education, that's the route that I chose. But I also know that there's a lot of different community colleges in Michigan that also enroll students in the real estate licensing exam. So just take a peek at the area, but I would highly recommend realestateexpress.com if you are familiar with online education. So the online education took me about 4 weeks to complete. It could take you a week, it could take you a year. It really just depends on your learning style and how much time that you have to allocate to finishing this class. So once you finish the class, you got a certificate, and I took the certificate into the sit down class, or what do you call it? I guess like sit down licensing exam for the state of Michigan. So I got on the LARA website, which is a licensing something. It's called LARA. If you just type in Michigan LARA, it will come up, and it basically told you all of the different days and times that they were offering this sit down course. I had to take my exam completely online. It took me a couple hours to complete. Real Estate Express did give me kind of like a synopsis of what I needed to study for, and I studied a week prior to me actually taking the exam. So it's a very stale environment. I took my exam, I believe it was in Dearborn or in Livonia. It was like Metro Detroit area in Wayne County, and luckily I passed it on the very first try, so that was a huge relief. It basically says either a pass or fail. If you have a C or higher, you pass. If you don't, you fail. So all I know is that I had a C or higher, and that was good enough for me. So once you have passed that exam, then you are able to get connected with a broker. So you cannot just be a standalone real estate agent. If you were a broker, that's a completely different story, but you also need a couple years under your belt to become a broker. So you can't just have your real estate license and then start advertising yourself and you're good to go. You have to get, at least in the state of Michigan, get connected with a brokerage, whether that's Real Estate One, Keller Williams, Berkshire Hathaway, or a boutique brokerage. So I got connected with a boutique brokerage in the Metro Ann Arbor area, and provided me with a lot of different support and resources. So the biggest thing that I would recommend to a new agent who is like fresh out the licensing is to get connected with a team or a mentor. It is a very rewarding, but it's also a very cutthroat business, and you really need somebody to teach you the ropes and to have the opportunity to ask people for help and for support, because you will really come into a lot of different scenarios and questions that you're not familiar with, and that's completely normal. I think it took me about 6 months to really start feeling like confident in the process, but at least a year before I was like, okay, I'm feeling very comfortable with where I'm at. I'm continuing to grow. I'm continuing to ask questions, but maybe not quite so much as I initially was. So when you are getting connected with a brokerage, they will also make you get connected with a local MLS. So that will give you the opportunity to pay dues, which I think the Ann Arbor Board of Realtors was about $1,000 a year. So different boards offer different things, and different boards offer different prices. So it'll be also important to connect with a board that offers you some good education, but maybe has a little bit more reasonable dues than some of the larger boards. So hopefully that answered a lot of your questions about how I became a real estate agent and how the process may look for somebody who is interested in becoming a real estate agent in Michigan. A brief synopsis being having a 6-month cash supply, because you never know when you're going to get that first paycheck. 2, studying for your real estate licensing exam. I believe the state of Michigan, don't quote me on this, but you do need to have a course in that. I took my program online. You can do it from a community college. Regardless, once you pass, you'll have a certificate. You'll take that into a state licensing exam. You'll take the exam, you'll get licensed, you'll get connected with a brokerage, and then pay your board dues. So all in all, it took me a couple weeks, if not a couple months, to get myself acclimated and ready to go to practice real estate. And I think all in all, I had about $1,400 into the process, which if you think about it, it's no different than a semester of community college. So if this is truly a career that you are really interested in and want to invest yourself into, then it's not really that bad of an investment. So stay tuned. I will be doing videos on like tips and tricks for real estate agents and top mistakes that new agents make. So stay tuned and watch my other videos. I'm really excited to share the process and just to give some newer agents some inspiration that they need, because I think it's so important. We're like this gang of entrepreneurs, and I see a lot of people entering the business and that are like millennials or Gen Z or whatever generation that we're currently on. And I think it's awesome that young entrepreneurs are kind of kicking butt, and I'm excited to see where your journey goes.